story of the day is going to be concerning New York State. Now, believe this or not, the state that is somewhat infamous for being kind of like arm's length about cryptocurrency has proposed in their legislature to innovate and create a localized state digital currency. This blows my mind. I mean, it doesn't really blow my mind. It's just surprising, extremely surprising to see from New York. So kind of sending me for a loop. But New York City lawmakers are proposing a, quote, hyper-localized digital cash that would run on a peer-to-peer payment platform being dubbed, quote, an inclusive value ledger, an IVL. Whew, man, something about that acronym doesn't seem right to me. Now, the idea is, it's not law or anything. It is currently being floated by New York State Assembly member Ron Kim, Senator Julia Salazar, and Cornell law professor Robert Hockett, who, in a true crypto fashion, have published a white paper elaborating on the concept, stemming back from November 2019. Now, the white paper cites benefits familiar to those of us in the crypto space, namely, quote, cutting out the middlemen from a payment processing, or from the process of, from processing a payment. You guys are following me, while serving the people of New York and giving them access to this. Now, with the state, of course, in the scenario, still remaining as a sort of mediator in the system, with the state remaining a sort of mediator. Now, this proposed digital doesn't actually rise to much of a true decentralized cryptocurrency in any way, state, shape, or form. The funds are fungible. There is, it's not censorship resistant. It is centralized. It is, payments can be revoked. It is not, there's no final settlement that you can actually rely on. Although the transactions are set up to be peer-to-peer and feeless, no less, by the way. Instead of a truly distributed ledger, the ledger is going to be taking the form of a master account that is going to be maintained by the New York Master Account Administrator. Man, they like long names and titles. Have you taken a look at the governance protocol for Ethereum, which, quote, can take the form either of the public treasury of the governmental unit in question or a legal trust settled and administered by that unit. Oh, that was a whole lot. Now, what does that mean? It really just boils down to the fact that they're going to be electing some form of centralized autonomous authority to actually have management over the system. So again, very, very clear here. But of course, could we expect to get a decentralized cryptocurrency from New York State? Of course not. It is just, again, what you guys are seeing here is not really the government embracing the ethoses whatsoever of decentralization. They are embracing the technology of blockchain to push the societies forward faster toward eliminating cash, which is kind of the last vestige of government lack of control over your financial life. The government would desire complete control and authority over your financial decisions and history. Advertisers want it, Google wants it, Amazon wants it, the governments want it, they all want it for the same thing. Command and control. I would argue that Google and Amazon, unlike a lot of individuals that believe differently, I don't actually think that they have some desire to control and rule the world. They just want to make money. The governments, however, are in the business of making, of command and control. The governments want it for power and to profit themselves in their battle against other nation states, because this is a dog-eat-dog world that we still live in, ladies and gentlemen. So this is not governments embracing decentralization or wanting to make society better for the citizens. When do they ever do that? Again, I would argue that the private market has produced technology that has made our private lives better. But as far as governmental policy and approaches toward our lives, the government just gets it worse year after year after year after year after year after year after year. I mean, literally. You go back 100. You go back in America, anyways. Let's go back 150 years. The government. If the government sent officials, like, people used to answer the door with the gun, right? Nowadays, you stretch forward 150 years, a lot of people in America begin to feel that the government is becoming autocratic or totalitarian. So you guys see that, over time, centralized structures of power ossify and become less and less relevant to actually improving the lives of the citizenry. And the private market continues to innovate and improve the lives of the citizenry with things like cell phones and things like, let me give thanks to the things that make my life better on a daily basis. Thank you, API keys. Thank you, TradingView. Thank you, Google Pixel 4 XL, right? Thank you, Rode microphone. All of those things, right? Those little tiny technological innovations improve the quality of my life. Let us not forget Mr. Dishwasher, Mr. Toaster Oven, and Mr. Refrigerator, all right? Because, again, we've had the refrigerator for quite a while, but, mine's pretty neat. Moving on. Make a video about it someday. But anyways, now, quoting this, just to make sure you guys understand, hold on, where that was ending up. The government is out for your cash. Cash is the ability to bypass the government and conduct transactions privately. By the way, so is Bitcoin. And that's why they're taking this stance. This is just the first step. Again, they have not struck down powerfully against decentralized cryptocurrency. It's quite difficult for them to do so. If it was easy to take down the Bitcoin network, the government would have done it. So all of these people who come out irrationally and say that Bitcoin can just be taken down by the government, yeah, sure, they could try. But they already looked into doing that and they decided not to. They decided not to because it would have been too difficult. So the Bitcoin network is strong. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here. Keep that in mind, guys. Now, quotes. Now, Kim, in a public statement published, says that I believe that their proposal, the inclusive value ledger, again, this is their little name for this thing, has the potential to be truly revolutionary. No, it doesn't. It's just neat. It's just digital cash. China's already doing this. There's nothing revolutionary about what you're doing, man. The creation of a free public savings and payment platform that all New Yorkers can use, not only to pay for goods and services, but also to transfer money directly to each other through it, I guess, missing a quote, could fundamentally reshape New York into a fairer, healthier, wealthier, and more inclusive place for all. It's just going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Nobody's going to have cash. The government's going to know everything that you do. All financial transactions are going to be processed through the state of New York. We're also going to have drones flying around because we're going to know every time you pay, anywhere you pay. So if you break the law, we're going to know exactly where you are and how you're spending your money. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to change lives. Jesus, man. Also, lawmakers noted the $55.7 billion that the state currently disperses in tax and remittance credits and transmission to an inclusive system that empowers all people to participate. No. Sorry. I read that completely wrong. I apologize. Lawmakers also noted the $55.7 billion that the state distributes in tax and remittance credits and other government benefits, that these would now be distributed using this digital debit credit ledger system. So even easier for the government to pay out money that we pay into the government to other individuals. It's going to be super easy now. Barely an inconvenience. Quote, we need to address the inequities that are built into our current economy and transition to an inclusive system that empowers all people to participate, said Senator, yeah, see, Freudian slip there, said Senator Sinister Salazar. Editorial spin right there. Yes, I just love, I think that it is the government's job to bring inclusivity and not the individual's job. Quote, sarcasm. Now, Professor Hockett added all valuable work in all valuable products and services, including presently unpaid care work and environmental cleanup, will be instantly compensatable, and all that is earned will be instantly savable and spendable. Yeah, I don't know. You guys are pretty terrible at valuing that stuff anyways, government. Now, although I think this bill kind of comes at an opportune moment for it to be introduced, for it to happen. Obviously, this is the long-term plan of all governments across the world. This is why China is pushing forward with it. This is why the European Central Bank is looking at a CBDC, central bank digital currency. This is why the United States, Jerome Powell is talking about this as well, although they've backed off of it because the United States has a pretty sweet deal with their current, economic hegemony utilizing the United States dollar and the SWIFT system. But, of course, we've had a lot of local shakeups lately, obviously with Libra and Zuckerberg, the Zuckbuck, bringing a lot of controversy to the scene, with Bitcoin having its rise, obviously a nice run in 2019 again, with China, again, implementing the DCEP, the Digital Currency Electronic Payment Network that they're going to be implementing, that they have already implemented. Again, there are already blockchain wands out there. So China is already... it's not happening. It's there. The DCEP is up and running and live. It's already been transmitted to commercial banks. Money has already been tokenized or printed, and they're just going to be continuing to increase the reach of that over the next year, pushing for it heavily this year. pushing for it heavily this year. They launched last year, excuse me. The DCEP launched last year. So it's already here. China's already out of the gate with this. Now, clearly, the Pandora's box of modern digital currency has been opened, and we will likely see mounting global pressure for even resistant government bodies to begin adopting this technology or risk looking like Luddites to other countries. Obviously, Russia and other nations investing heavily in blockchain technology as well, but not so much decentralized cryptocurrency. Again, keep in mind, guys, remember this when you're looking as a long-term investor at what Bitcoin is, at what decentralized cryptocurrency is. It is going to be cash in the future. There is going to be no such thing as cash. Government wants to get rid of cash. Government is getting rid of cash. And things like Bitcoin, decentralized cryptocurrencies offer you the only opportunity to pay for something with a modicum of privacy. It's going to be your only alternative in the future. So, if you're totally fine with every single transaction that you make being monitored and registered on the government master ledger, again, the master account system of New York, good. If you would like the ability to pay for whatever you want in the privacy of the transaction between you and who, decentralized cryptocurrencies offer that right. Privacy is already, confidential transactions are already built into the Liquid sidechain, coming to the Bitcoin network eventually. They're already built. Confidential transactions are now on the Lightning Network, meaning that it's already on second layer Bitcoin. So keep that in mind.